Well, welcome, Tessa. Thank you very much for being with us again, and we'd love to listen to your opinions or your short stories.
I was going to say, everything so far at this conference has worked perfectly. It's been lovely to be here. It's my first time in Mexico ever, so I'm taking in so much every minute, and what a welcoming place, what a lovely event this conference is, and thank you so much, Ignacio, for inviting me and listening to these fascinating true stories, and Claudia's to come. The story is called Sunstroke. The seafront really isn't the sea, but the Bristol Channel. Wales is a blue line of hills on the other side. The district council has brought sand from elsewhere and built a complicated, ugly system of sea walls to keep it in and make the beach more beach-like. But the locals say it will be washed away at the first spring tide. Determined kids wade out a long way into the soft brown silt to reach the water, which barely has energy to gather itself into what you could call a wave. It's hard to believe that the same boys and girls who have PlayStations and the internet still care to go paddling with shrimping nets in the rock pools left behind when the tide recedes. But they do, absorbed in it for hours, as children might have been decades and generations ago. It's a summer day with the same blue sky and unserious puffs of creamy cloud as on the postcards. The high street is festive with bunting and flowers. The toy shops have set out their metal baskets of buckets and spades and polythene flags. The cafes are doing good business selling cream teas and chips. There are a lot of people holidaying in Somerset this year. Pink-skinned in shorts and sunglasses, with troops of children, they buy locally made ice cream. They visit the steam railway kept open by enthusiasts. They change £20 notes into piles of coins and lose them all in the machines in the amusement arcades. Not so long ago, these old seaside resorts seem to have been passed over forever, left to the elderly by people rushing to take their vacations abroad, but now some people aren't so keen to fly. Across the road from the beach are the Jubilee Gardens. That's Queen Victoria's Jubilee, not the recent one, where there's a putting green and even a bandstand, though today there's no band. Two young women have established a messy family camp of bags, cardigans, plastic water bottles, discarded children's tops, half in and half out of the dappled shade of some kind of ornamental tree that neither can identify, although both, lying back on the grass, have stared dreamily up into the delicate lattice of its twigs and leaves, stirring against the light with an effect like glinting water. The children, they have 3 each, wheel in and out around their mother's centre, wanting drink, money, kisses, indignantly demanding justice. The women hardly interrupt their conversation to dole out what's needed, to open up their purses, issue stern warnings. They talk, sometimes across the heads of the youngest ones, curled up hot and heavy in their laps, sticky tears pressing crumples into the women's summer dresses. The baby dozes in her pushchair and later lies on a blanket, blinking up into the tree, responding with little jerks of her arms and legs to the shifting patterns of light. These women don't look wealthy. The kids' clothes are hand-me-downs, the purses are worn, and the women frown into them. But they look, if it still means anything, bohemian. Rachel's curving calves and strong bare arms are defiantly untanned. Her luxuriant, nearly black hair is pinned up untidily on her head. Janie, who went to art college, wears a short, gauzy green dress with 70s-style pink paisley patterns. Her hair, which is light brown and dead straight, is cut in some style that Rachel deplores and admires, ragged, uneven lengths as if it had been chopped at random. They are both in their early 30s, at that piquant moment of change when the outward accidents of flesh are beginning to be sharpened from inside by character and experience. They have come to town for the day. Rachel and her husband Sam have a cottage inland where they spend their holidays. Janie and her partner Vince are visiting. Rachel and Janie have been best friends since school. They did their degrees together in Brighton and shared a house. When Rachel moved back to Bristol, where they grew up, Sam was working for the BBC there. Janie went to look for work in London and stayed. They're not obviously alike. Rachel is impulsive and can sound bossy and loudly middle class. Janie's more wary and ironic. But they tell each other everything, almost everything. During the long months between visits, they talk for hours on the phone. Both of them have other friends, but it's not the same. There's no one else to whom they can unfold their inner lives with the same freedom. The two have been talking intensely today ever since they woke up. First, Rachel came into Janie's bedroom and sat on the bed in her pyjamas while Janie fed Lulu. And then they talked as they clambered on all fours to tidy the children's mattresses laid out end to end in the attic. Hours ago, they got the children dressed and drove into town. This was supposedly to do some shopping and get the kids out of the house so that Sam could get on with his writing, but all along they had in mind exactly the treat they are enjoying now. This lazy, delicious, stolen afternoon, doing nothing, escaped from the men, talking on and on about the men. They dip into their purses extravagantly, and the children sense the possibility of largesse. The older boys race off to the toy shop to buy guns for themselves, windmills for the little ones. In order to earn this day in the sunshine with their beautiful children running round them, how many toiling, domesticated days haven't these young mothers put in? Both of them do a token amount of work outside the home. Janie does a few hours of art therapy with special needs children. Rachel does a bit of copy editing. But truly, for years, they have been half involuntarily absorbed into the warm vegetable soup of motherhood, which surprisingly resembles their own mothers' lives 30 years ago. They don't quite know how this happened. Before the children were born, their relationships had shown every sign of being modern ones, built around the equal importance of two careers and the sharing of housework. Neither woman is exactly unhappy, but what has built up in them instead is a sense of surplus, of life unlived. Somewhere else, while they are absorbed in pushchairs and fish fingers and wiping bottoms, there must be another world of intense experiences for grown-ups. They feel as if through their perpetual preoccupation with infantile things, they too have become infants, as if their adult selves were ripening and sweetening all in vain, wasted. You can see this sensual surplus in them. It glistens on their skin and in their eyes like cream rising to the top of the milk.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Tessa, for your deeply moving, terrible
As I read it, I was just thinking of all the things that would be difficult to translate, so congratulations
No, but
to the simultaneous.
I don't think, we got to remember we had the event yesterday. But it's moving completely. I was thinking of, well, who hasn't been Mrs. Dalloway waiting for Godot? It's tragic. It's beautiful. Thank you very much for your reading.